cues.
Good.
Hello, everybody. We're going to give folks a few more minutes to join. Thank you all for those of you who are on time. We may have candidates outnumber viewers.
Everyone is still traveling back from their eclipse vacations.
That's right. Those of you who are here, you might want to go on speaker view. It might be easier to have the person who's talking pop up large if that interests you. I'm going to give folks one more minute. We are recording. All right, well, I see a couple of candidates who seem to be having trouble joining. They're in, they're out. All right, welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and get started in the interest of respecting everyone's time. I want to thank everyone for being here, both candidates and community members and viewers alike. I really appreciate everyone who has stepped up to run for this board. Keeping our little neighborhood safe and livable is not an easy job, and it takes everyone's hard work. And I appreciate anybody who has the energy to either put themselves up for nomination or to take the time to listen to everybody else. So for all of you candidates, I emailed you all just a few minutes ago with the order of each of the 3 sections and also with the 2 questions that are going to be asked. The way we're running this is we're going to begin with a 2-minute opening statement from each person. And I will put a timer up on the screen, technology God's willing. And we'll go through those. And then the 2 questions I've emailed you, I'm going to read them out now. And then Louisa is going to put them in the chat as well. I just want to introduce a few folks here. We've got Mark Aronson, who is co-chair and also interim chair of RCPC right now. And then we've got Louisa Bouquiet, who is Vice Demi Assistant Election Commissioner Pro Tem at Large ad hoc. So thank you for helping out. And I also want to tell you about the voting procedure for those of you who have maybe forgotten. We're going to be voting over 2 days at the Rockridge Library, both days, rain or shine. The first day is Thursday, April 18th from 7 to 9, and then again on Saturday, April 20th from 1 to 4. We will be counting the votes on Sunday, I believe, and letting you all know the results of the tally after that. So, like I said, we're going to start with opening prepared speeches. The 2 questions that we're going to be asking later are question 1, how do you define desirable neighborhood and livability? How do you define desirable neighborhood and livability? And the second question is, what is your vision for Rockridge 10 years from now? So I will read the order of speakers for the first opening speech And I'll remind you, you don't have to remember where you are in the 14, but just so you know, we are going with Kaplan, Alameldon, Flashman, Charman, Belt, Beiser, Smith, Wyshak, Farmer, McElrath, Floystrup, Spitzer, Walton, and Peterson. So that's the order of the first thing. I would encourage you to mute yourself when you're not speaking, and please do come on camera when you are speaking. So any questions before we get going? All right, I'm going to jump into it and yield the floor over to Mr. Kaplan for an opening statement. Wait, let me see if I can get this timer up there first. You guys see it? All right, go for it.
Great. Hi, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Eli Kaplan, and I've lived in Rockridge for 6 years. I first came out to the Bay Area 7 years ago for grad school to do the Master of City Planning program at UC Berkeley. And my first year of grad school, I had several roommates, and it was hard to focus and study and get some quiet space. So I was looking for an apartment on my own, and I happened upon a studio apartment in Rockridge in this little 10-unit building on Manila near 51st, where it's mostly single family homes, but there happens to be this apartment building and there was a studio available that I could afford. And that's what brought me to the neighborhood. And I didn't know Rockridge too much at the time and just, fell in love right away, able to walk to everything on College Avenue, bike up to Cal really quick, take BART. I don't have a car. I could take AC Transit. And then when my partner and I moved in together, I reached out to my landlord and it said, I love the area, but we needed more space. And it turns out they owned a little duplex on Ada Street. So we moved over there. And then last year we welcomed our first child and we needed more space. And we were looking around and it just so happened there was a rental across the street. So now I live on the top floor of a duplex and we have 3 bikes and 1 baby and still no cars. And it's the existence of rental housing that enables my family to stay in this neighborhood. My wife and I both work in the public sector. And even though we make good money, we can't afford to spend $1 million+ on a little bungalow. So I'm really grateful that there was these rental housing opportunities that have enabled me to stay here and live the sustainable urban lifestyle that I love. So I love taking my baby for walks on these beautiful residential blocks. I do all my shopping on College Avenue. I take the AC Transit buses to get around and take part. And I'm just really looking forward to stepping up into a leadership role in this community I've called home for the past 6 years. So thank you.
Great, thanks so much. All right, we have Mohammed Alameldon, number 2. You ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, hit it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Alameldon. I have been a Rockridge resident for not too long, actually. But myself, my first experience in Rockridge was I was evicted from my apartment in Contra Costa because 2 of my roommates couldn't pay rent. So I slept in my car on the side of the street next to Rockridge Park. And that was my experience, my first experience in the neighborhood. Ever since then, I always loved this place and I always wanted to live here. And due to my personal experiences, I got into the housing space. I have worked with the Green Lining Institute, a racial justice organization in Oakland, and now with UC Berkeley's Turner Center for Housing Innovation. And I utilize research and data and ways to help solve our housing crisis. And I was able to live here because I'm just downstairs of a duplex as a rental. And I want to make this a livable neighborhood for everyone and for everyone to have a chance to at least live at Rockridge for a long time, or at least in some point of their life, because I think this neighborhood is worth sharing. In my professional capacity, I've helped a number of state legislators, the governor, the White House, various agencies on how to solve the housing crisis. But in my spare time, I've also helped build protected bike lanes in underserved communities. I've spent time helping out with local campaigns and local elections, and I really believe that Rockridge is one of the best communities. My wife and I live here. There isn't a day when I'm not on College Avenue, and I love the close access to Piedmont. I love the close access to BART. I love seeing middle school and high school kids walking around the neighborhood and living their lives while more elderly people also live here and young families. Everybody already calls Rockridge home, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to represent you all at the RCPC capacity if you will have me.
Great, thank you so much. Next, we have Stu Flashman.
Good evening. I suspect that most of you who've lived in Rockridge for a few years already know who I am. I'm a public interest environmental and land use attorney who's lived in Rockridge since 1992. I first volunteered to fill a vacancy on the RCPC board in 2007. I did so because Rockridge has pressing land use issues facing it, everything from the Caldecott Tunnel Fourth Floor project to 2 Safeway renovation projects to several large multifamily housing proposals. And I thought my land use knowledge and experience could help. And I think I was right in thinking so. I've continued serving on the board off and on, including chairing the board for 5 years and chaired RCPC's Land Use Committee from 2008 to 2022. I think my efforts have yielded results. Those include negotiating improvements in the 2 Safeway projects, promoting transportation improvements, encouraging putting affordable housing units in the Logan project at 51st and Telegraph, and helping to keep College Avenue retail alive and well by retaining Crossroads trading on College Avenue and adding Cole Hardware. I continue to believe that judiciously managed growth, including affordable housing, will benefit Rockridge and our city. But there's far more to RCPC and to Rockridge than just housing. I also made sure that RCPC kept residents informed about what was going on, both through Rockridge news articles and the monthly or bi-monthly town hall meetings. I left the board in 2022. Since then, many residents have told me how much they miss my presence on the board, especially the monthly land use update column that I used to write for the Rockridge News, and have asked me to rejoin the board. I've agreed because I think I can still help RCPC and Rockridge. I ask your vote for myself and for candidates who share my focus on well-managed growth and open and transparent two-way communication with residents.
Great. Thank you, Stu. All right, we've got Andrew Sharman next. I think you're muted.
Sorry.
All right, start again.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Hello, I'm Andy Charman. I have enjoyed living in Rockridge now for over 15 years while teaching physics up the street at UC Berkeley. I'm just finishing up the most recent of several terms on the RCPC board, where I've previously served in various capacities, including vice chair and chair. My past responsibilities have included efforts to identify and promote projects funded by the Fourth Floor Settlement, and along with a few others in tonight's cohort, serving as part of the community negotiating team for the College Avenue Safeway project. When I mention this, I know some must be thinking, having seen that Safeway, I'm not sure he should be confessing any involvement, but I can only invite you to imagine what it would have looked like had we not pushed back. As an avid walker, frequent public transit user, and occasional driver, I've spent much of my time on the board chairing our transportation committee, working for safer and more convenient travels by pedestrians, cyclists, motorists, and bus and BART riders alike. As a teacher at a public university and a director of a cost-free high school science summer program at MIT, I have a deep commitment to education. As a scientist who has researched atmospheric carbon dioxide, I am quite interested in issues of sustainability, everything from street trees to green building, gray water, and solar power. And perhaps like many people in attendance, I'm also quite concerned about other issues, such as public safety and housing, issues where I think we can build broader support for some common sense strategies, for example, regarding streamlining permitting for ADUs. RCPC is an important channel through which the voices of the Rockridge neighborhood can be amplified in our interactions with the city, public agencies, and other neighborhood groups. While board members should bring their own ideas, it is essential that we listen to and represent the entire community. Working together, we can endeavor to maintain what we love about our neighborhood and improve what is working less well. Thank you.
Great. Thanks. We have Kristen Belt next.
Hi, my name is Kristen Belt. I've lived in the neighborhood for 17 of the last 25 years. So I moved here for grad school in the late 90s and then returned after several years to raise my kids in this amazing walkable community. I have 2 kids that went through Peralta. My youngest is a 5th grader right now. And I've enjoyed volunteering at the school over the last 9 years and being part of that community. I coordinate our local block party every year, and I strongly believe in the power of simple events that bring people together to make our community stronger. And I'd like to support that in the broader Rockridge community. I'm also an architect and urban designer with 25 years experience developing sustainable urban communities in the Bay Area. I have extensive knowledge of California development policy, which has changed dramatically over the last 5 to 10 years. And I would love to leverage that experience to support housing development in our neighborhood that maximizes community benefit. In reading the candidate statements, I was really excited to see so many people speaking in support of affordable housing. That's not always been the case. But I also think it's important to understand that affordable housing doesn't happen without market rate housing. So through my firm, I've led the design and approvals process of almost 2,000 permanently affordable homes. So I have a solid understanding of what it takes to make affordable housing happen. I'm happy to get into the weeds about that with anyone that's interested. Ping me and we can grab a coffee. But I strongly feel that this is a both and situation. We need more affordable and more market rate, more rental and ownership to address the current housing crisis and support the vitality of the College Avenue corridor. Regardless of where you fall on the spectrum of support for housing, I believe that there's so much commonality in what we all want for our neighborhood. Listening and consensus building will be critical to shaping a diverse, inclusive vision for our neighborhood that everyone can be proud of. And I'd be honored to be part of the board so that I can listen to all of you and help shape those ideas.
Thank you so much. David Beiser, are you here? I don't think I've seen him unless he's using a kid's laptop with another name. David, are you here?
Nope, not that I've seen.
Okay, nobody else sees him either? Okay, we have Kim Smith.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. Nice to hear about everyone's great contributions that they've already made to the board and those who are seeking new positions on it. So I'm Kim. Like everybody else, I wear multiple hats. My husband grew up in the neighborhood. So even when we started dating 18 years ago, I've been visiting the neighborhood for a long time and hearing stories about what it was in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then we recently moved back 6 years to raise our children. So I am a Chabot mother. And then professionally, I am an architect, really similar to what Kristen just shared. I'm also a multifamily architect specializing in market rate and affordable housing, very much so in the pro-housing camp with extensive experience getting projects built and approved. I also wear a hat where I'm a lecturer at UC Berkeley in the planning department. I teach courses and studios that typically look at the neighborhood scale or specific plans, studied areas all around the Bay Area because I have a strong interest in kind of active neighborhood planning and visions planning. It's currently I'm looking actually at the Ridge 2 site with my students, working with some Oakland Tech students. What else can I say about myself? Really quickly. The other thing that I bring unique experience in is I actually sat on the Berkeley Landmarks Commission for 3 years before coming back to Oakland. So I had a lot of experience at a commission level reviewing EIRs, getting community input and kind of, bridging between preservation, context, and actually housing projects and getting them approved or looking at how they fit into the context. So I think I will stop there.
Great, thank you. We have Susie Wyshak next.
Hello. Last year, I had an injury and I couldn't drive for a month, and I walked to and from Kaiser several times and did all my shopping on foot. Never got mugged. I would like everyone to have experiences like that in the neighborhood, excluding the injury. Connecting with our community and saying hi to people on the street and getting to know neighbors is key to what makes Rockridge a great place and makes for a good life. I'm a many-decade Bay Area resident, UC Berkeley graduate, native Californian, and 13-year Rockridge resident and owner of a duplex. I'm running for the board to help Rockridge remain the best place in the East Bay. My background includes lots of website strategy, real estate knowledge. I'm a realtor, food business promotion, and a passion for urban planning and what makes a place desirable for residents, businesses, and tourists. I was inspired to run specifically with the goal of working on grants from AARP. They have a Livable Cities program where Rockridge could get tens of thousands of dollars for quick, high impact projects to improve the community. So far, I've been involved with Rockridge, writing articles for the news. I've worked at Market Hall, hosted food barter marts, been involved with the whole Buy Nothing movement, and I'm going to be volunteering at the library to answer real estate questions once a month. And I'm also helping a very popular nonprofit with ideas for how to come to Rockridge, which will be huge if they end up doing that. This is a huge, impressive collection of experts we've heard from so far. So if I don't make it on the board, I'll happily volunteer and lend a hand. I was tempted to sign off, but throwing my hat in the ring as a passionate Rockridge resident. And thank you.
All right. Thanks so much, Susie. Next up, we have Casey Farmer.
Hi, everyone. Perhaps we've met while my children have been squealing with joy running around the Rockridge Library, or when I was organizing the Rockridge Halloween Parade, or while patronizing some of our amazing coffee shops I host most of my work meetings at and consider to be my office. Or perhaps at a national night out, which I annually co-host, formerly on Herman Street and now on Carlton Street. Or perhaps through my professional work, which I have led a number of outreach campaigns, including for Census 2020 for the County of Alameda, or formerly staff to the City of Oakland. I am excited to run for re-election because I think we have done an incredible job lifting up a lot of needs in our communities. I think what I have brought to the table is my professional expertise as an organizer and as a government relations professional. And I have helped us think outside the box. So as folks are interested in building ADUs, we had an ADUs and brews, supporting a local bar and bringing some of the local architects together. I have led the outreach effort to fight against Shell Oil, who left a gas station in a terribly blighted lot at Claremont and College, and we galvanized 2,000 people to weigh in to Alameda County. Additionally, we led the outreach with a broad coalition of neighbors outside of Rockridge proper to fight off a Home Depot to ask for housing on a huge and important site, one that affects us all. So really bring that organizing expertise. I think sometimes we neglect to celebrate our successes in the Rockridge News, but we have been doing a lot of important work, and I'd really like to continue that. It's an honor to serve on this board.
Great. Thank you so much. Let's see, we have Jennifer McElrath next.
Greetings. I'm someone who loves to walk our beautiful neighborhood, green and calming, and shop our beloved eclectic College Avenue. There's a sense of being someplace special, like when you seek out unique locales on vacation. I like to share that vibe with visitors and would like to share it with more neighbors to support the local businesses with more customers and more workers. Besides housing, 3 areas I'd like to address with RPC are financial and strategic health, public open space, and community engagement. I already volunteered to fill the Land Use Committee's request for financial analysis help. I would like to do much more with my finance and planning skills to assess the what, where, when, and how RCP and the community can benefit most financially and against other targets when considering issues and projects. Second, Oakland's general plan for open space conservation and recreation has a target of 10 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. In 2022, North Oakland was at only 1/10 of the city's target and 1/4 of its own target, having under 1.2 acres per 1,000 residents. And that's before we add new residents. I'd like to examine where and how we can eke out more parkland and beautify and conserve what we do have. Third, only a small part of the community actively engages in RCPC concerns. RCPC could benefit from a survey with replies from a majority of Rockridge residents ranking what most concerns them. I would then want to apply the concepts from having developed employee and other group engagement apps to making it easier and more productive for lots more of our residents to get involved, share their skills, and feel the joy of engaging in Rockridge.
Thank you.
For your vote.
Thank you. All right, I have Annetta Floystrup up next.
Hi, I'm Annetta. My family moved to Rockridge from Denmark when I was 5, and I grew up on 63rd Street between Colby and Hillegas. I attended Peralta, Claremont Junior High, Oakland Tech, UC Berkeley, and yes, I am a local yokel. My story is pretty typical. I was a renter in Berkeley for 10 years and in Rockridge for 7 before my husband and I managed to buy our house about 35 years ago. Rockridge has always been 50-50 homeowners and renters, with slightly fewer renters now at only about 45%. But RCPC's membership is inclusive, deliberately so. If you live here, you're a member. Our little house is a cabin from 1898 with a living room that was added in World War II. Yet old as it is, it's an almost totally self-sufficient solar house with heat pumps for heating and hot water. And 1 year from now, we'll be totally off of natural gas. I tell you this because in addition to the current Jewish Community Center Committee, which I serve on, RCPC currently has only 2 of the traditional standing committees, land use and transportation. And I would like to see the board bring back standing committees for parks and schools, and then start 2 new committees, one on environment and sustainability and one on community vision. All RCPC committees are led by a board member and do include and encourage participation of residents. I think that community vision could be a place where ideas from the community could lead to creating projects, both large and small, of the collaborative thinking that has really been a huge part of the ethos of the Rockridge neighborhood for as long as I've lived here, quite literally. The thing that created Frog Park and library, among other things, has been community involvement. So Rockridge has never been static, and it should not be static now. Engaging the community creativity and participation could ensure continued innovation. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I have Ronnie Spitzer up next. She told me she might be under the weather tonight, so unless
Zach, she actually just emailed me and asked if I could read her statement. Would that be okay?
Fine with me.
Oh, okay.
She has laryngitis.
So Ronnie apologizes, but she has a bad case of laryngitis and asked me to read her introductory statement. So here it goes. Hi, I'm Ronnie Spitzer, and I'm running for the RCPC board because I love Rockridge and want to continue advocating for its inclusive and vibrant character. I've served on the RCPC board over several terms and in various capacities, including chair, vice chair, and treasurer, as a liaison with Friends of the Rockridge Temescal Greenbelt, Fourth Board Coalition representative and vice chair, kitchen tour co-chair, and member of the negotiating team for the Safeway project. My focus throughout this time has been on community engagement, reaching out to Rockridge residents through one-on-one discussions, public meetings, and surveys has always guided my representation of the community to City of Oakland staff, various transportation agencies, city council members, and other neighborhood organizations. I believe transparency is key to keeping the community informed on current issues affecting Rockridge, such as the recently adopted 55-foot height limits on College Avenue. I would be honored to receive your vote and return to the board. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. I have Zach Walton next.
Great. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great. Something was wrong with my computer, so I'm on my iPhone, so my whole perspective is off, but I'm glad that, to be able to participate here. So I'm a 18-year resident of Rockridge, and I grew up in Berkeley, and actually in high school helped move the pasta shop from where the Golden Squirrel was located to Market Hall. I made pasta there, and then I worked behind the counter, and I think I was really good. I really enjoy my time in Rockridge, and I would like to be able to contribute more, contribute back to the community. I've participated in the past, Andrew referenced, and I think Stuart referenced as well, and Ronnie's statement referenced negotiations with Safeway at College in Claremont, and I was a part of those discussions. And notwithstanding that it's still Safeway, I'm very happy about the public space being there, and I think that we as a group were able to contribute to that.
Yep.
I'm an attorney. I practice environmental law, I practice land use law. I'm very familiar with the site, for example, at College in Claremont, because I've worked on environmental issues there. I think my skills, I have skills that could be of use to the board. I've worked on projects with the city. I've permitted projects with the city. And so I think that that those are skills that I could use, that could help with RCPC in advancing its mission. It seems to me when I listen to the statements that there's a lot of violent agreement with each other. So I think that that's wonderful, and I think it's wonderful to see how many people are really committed to the community. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you. And then we have Kirk Peterson. Are you here? I think you're muted.
Hi, I didn't think I was going to be able to be here, so I wrote a statement which my wife is going to read. So I'm just going to read it so I don't stray off too much. So my office here has been looking out on College Avenue for 33 years. So I'm kind of pretty clear on what's going out there, which is good. And we've lived here now for 13 years, and we're just finishing a triplex in our own backyard that we're hoping to move into in 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm happy to have this opportunity to continue to be of service to the Rockridge neighborhood. We've been working and living here for 30-odd years. I'd like to see RCP build on the good things it has done, like building a library and creating Frog Park. Improved information gathering and communication with our neighbors would be great. I'd like to have some open board meetings and more town halls. I'm looking forward to putting my experience as an architect to use on the land use committee, which I've been on for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, first as just a neighbor and then as a board member, to help the LUC develop the community vision project that we're embarking on. I've designed hundreds of dwelling units, including subsidized affordable housing to luxury housing, and mostly in between multifamily work. I've had a lot of experience working in the city of Oakland, planning and building, and can help coordinate and communicate with those folks, especially in light of the changing zoning regulations. Like my house here could have been a whole story higher if I'd waited longer, but I'm old enough. Anyway, I'm interested in helping Rockridge welcome new neighbors. So increased population sounds good to me, so that the new and long-term residents can continue to enjoy the neighborhood look and feel that we all enjoy. Casey and I were both on TV. Well, that's that.
Yes. Thank you, Kirk. Appreciate it. All right. We are moving into the first question, which as a reminder is, how do you define desirable neighborhood and livability? Eli Kaplan just messaged that he has childcare issues and would like to be moved to the end. I think that seems reasonable. So the order that we have is Farmer, McElrath, Belt, Floystrup, Peterson, Alameldine, Beiser, Walton, Wyshak, Spitzer, Charman, Flashman, Smith, and Kaplan. So.
And remind me how much time for this question?
1 minute. Did it go to 1 minute? All
Great.
right.
Here we go. Okay, desirability and livability. I think I would love, as a former stroller pusher, more curb cuts for walkability purposes. I'd love to see more merchants because we have more residents to support more merchants. Definitely more trees and as much open space as we're able to squeeze in, such as at the CCA site. I'd really like to champion the public art projects. I helped lead the effort to get mosaic trash cans along College Avenue and at Frog Park. And I would like to do phase 2 as a partnership with Claremont Middle School students for their art class, as well as with our BART station to make the BART property much more activated and beautiful. I would like to encourage more people to have block parties, as I have done, encouraging everyone to have a national night out on their blocks. And with the community vision plan, I want everyone to be engaged.
Great. Thank you, Casey. Jennifer.
A proactive, well-planned, sustainable ecosystem. I mean, to me, there's a balance between all levels of housing, diversity, green space, it being vibrant, walkable, commercial area, schools, traffic, and public transportation in a safe environment. It has to go together. You can't just focus on one aspect and feel that it's going to be a sustainable, livable, desirable neighborhood. It all comes together in an ecosystem.
Great. Thanks. We have Kristen Belt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we all know that we all live in a desirable neighborhood, and that's why it's just become so expensive, because everybody wants to live here. And you know, I haven't been here since the 70s, but you know, my neighbors that have seen even more change than I have. So desirable neighborhood and livability to me means diverse, safe, welcoming, with an emphasis on the diverse. Like, we're not quite there yet. We don't have enough opportunities for a range of incomes, for a range of housing types to serve the needs. So I really want to double down on that. I'm really interested in pedestrian and bike safety. We have such a walkable area. My kids walk to school, everything is great, but there are incidents. I'd really love to double down on pedestrian safety and bike safety in some areas. And I'd love to see the kids take more ownership of College Avenue. It seems a little silly to me that between Peralta, Chabot, and Claremont, that they don't have more of a presence there. And I'd like to see that with the various events.
Great. Thank you. We have Annetta, please.
Desirable, first and foremost, to me, is the people. And I think the most amazing thing about Rockridge is just the wonderful people who live here. I live on Birch Court. It's an extremely dense street. It doesn't look or feel like it, but we have a 12-unit, 8-unit, and 4-unit apartment building, and everyone lives with houses in the backyard, including me. I am the house in the backyard behind a duplex. So that having neighbors, and neighbors that you relate to, that are from everywhere, which ours are. We have neighbors from all countries in Asia, continent of Africa, South Africa, yes, and South America, Latin America, etc. That to me is everything. Livability, walkability, relationships, the ability to go to a store. We live a block from Trader Joe's. You don't know how many neighbors you can meet just walking down the street and going to Trader Joe's. It's absolutely insane. It is never a short trip. And that is perfect. I didn't drive till I was 20 because of that.
That's great. Thank you. All right, Kirk Peterson. Thank you. I think you're muted again.
Sorry. Yeah, well, Nanetta hit the nail on the head. It's like a large part of what is great here is the people who live here, because the city is a physical place, but it's also a culture. Otherwise, it's just a ruin. One thing that makes the place livable, which nobody's mentioned, is lack of bad stuff. I've had my truck stolen, my office burglarized, and a drive-in by shooting where somebody was killed 2 doors down. So crime is not something RCPC can change, probably, but it is a consideration. Other than that, I think well, as an architect who likes historic buildings, of course, all these wonderful bungalows are great, but I also think the development pattern of small lots means everybody's closer together. And, you know, I guess if you're the kind of person who doesn't like that, you just don't live here. You go to Walnut Creek or something. So I think that's a plus. Yeah, what makes it desirable? I mean, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And it's different for everybody, but it's mostly the people.
That's great. Thank you. Mohammed.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, definitely. Find desirable neighborhoods and livability. I agree with Kirk. I think neighborhoods should be safe. I think safety is a big thing. People should feel safe there, but also their personal property should feel safe when in this neighborhood. I believe it should be affordable. This neighborhood should be more affordable. We need housing for everyone. Affordability is a big issue across the Bay Area, and we could do our part and as RCPC to do that. But also economic vitality, right? We need more, we have mostly local businesses, and let's keep it that way, and let's grow our local businesses. When I worked for Mayor Tubbs in Stockton, I helped with the permit streamlining of the city for small business owners. And I recently helped a Moment Cafe and the Wardrobe Project launch their businesses on the streets and help them expand and stay here. And I see just like this vision of like neighborhood storefronts across the city, right? Like your house, you should have the ability to just have like a commercial space and really like pursue your dreams when it comes to what you want to own. Finally, this place should be fun. We have RIC, we have George and Walt, we have McNally's, but nothing for kids. We should utilize the parking lot at Park for a skate park and bring a park. Thank you.
All right, David Beiser, still not here?
Nope.
All right, let's do Zach Walton.
Okay, great. For me, a desirable neighborhood has kids playing on the street.
Yep.
We have bands playing on College Avenue. We've got folks pouring out of cafes, sitting on the street talking to one another. And we have a neighborhood where people can walk without fear of being hit by cars. Livability is a wonderful goal that hopefully we can achieve sometime with more housing. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Susie Wyshak.
Everything everyone already said, plus that people want to live here or there, visit, come back, and never leave, which describes Rockridge. I think an important thing is that businesses cater to locals for everyday purposes. Like if you look at the ebb and flow of like Fillmore in the city, it has used to have hardware stores and more of those mom and pop shops. Then it went to high-end boutiques, and now Oaktown Spice and Dandelion are opening, and more little everyday eateries. So I think having that mix where people can get what they need, so they're out and about. I think we've seen our preponderance of cafes has been a good thing. And I would love to see more spaces for classes and workshops and more of that making type thing that would get people out communing and meeting people.
All right, thank you. I assume Ronnie Spitzer has not recovered from her laryngitis in the last 18 minutes. So, Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said. I think this means, that we're welcoming to people of all ages and interests and backgrounds. The neighborhood is safe and sustainable. It's both economically and culturally vibrant. And it's welcoming, not just to homeowners, but to owners, renters, merchants, workers, visitors, everybody. I personally grew up in a Southern California suburb that was very car-centric. So for me, livability especially means walkability and transit accessibility. And I think those are important to a lot of people here. And I think we have some of that, and we could get a lot more. So thanks.
Great, thank you. Stu Flashman.
Sorry, I needed to unmute myself. Different people have different definitions of livability and of desirable neighborhood. There are, as was mentioned, there are some people who feel like, well, Walnut Creek is where I want to be. Well, they can go there. I think that Rockridge epitomizes an area that is very much walkable, very transit accessible, and also has a lot of beauty to it. I've spent a lot of time the last few months walking around Rockridge. I get up in the morning and usually go for a walk for about 45 minutes or an hour. And you see a lot of beautiful homes, beautiful areas. One of the things I think that we could use more of is a sense of neighborliness. We have some of that, but I would love to see us get to be an area where everybody knows everybody else in the block, which in some other places I've lived, that's been the case. Our schools are an important part of our community. We need good schools. And again, sustainability is good.
Great, thank you. Kim Smith is next.
Thank you. I actually kind of separate these two terms. So for me, when somebody says, what's the definition of desirable neighborhood? Mine similar to kind of Stuart's comments goes to like desirable for who? Who's defining what someone is desiring? And I associate it with like a real estate term. So I think as a community that is flagged as desirable, I would strive that we are a healthy neighborhood, that we are an inclusive neighborhood, a space where people feel safe and comfortable. A space that, you know, represents many different people's perspectives, and make sure that they feel, you know, like they belong here and whatever their sense of belonging and desire to be connected to others are. Livability to me is a neighborhood that has a sense of place, is active and vibrant, commercial district, walkability, multi-generational, and has a good representation of social, economical, and racial diversity. So.
Okay, great. Thanks so much. Eli, are you back from the land of the little children?
No, I'm sorry. I still have a crying baby here. If I could maybe go at the very end, I apologize.
Well, this is the end of question one. So if you want to speak on question one, this is your moment.
I guess I'll have to pass to question two. Sorry.
Okay, thanks. Let's move on to question two. The order that I have, folks, is Walton, Flashman, Spitzer, Smith, Peterson, Beiser, Farmer, Alameldine, Charman, Kaplan, McElrath, Floystrup, Wyshak, and Belt. And I am going to put Kaplan at the end again, just in hopes of catching him. So, Zach Walton, you're up first.
All right, my vision in 10 years for Rockridge, 3 elements. The first is the lot at College and Claremont. I really would like to see that entranceway to Rockridge developed, commercial on the first floor and housing on top. I think would be wonderful. Second, the California College of Arts. However you feel it should be designed, it should be built. I'd like to see that we have that development going forward. I would love to see how it can help activate that end of College Avenue. And third, the vacant lot at Broadway and Pleasant Valley, which not just is an eyesore, but is an extraordinary opportunity and could further contribute to the growing vitality on College Avenue. So thanks very much.
Great. Steve Flashman.
Thanks. So I have to say that in a lot of ways, I suspect that Rockridge is not going to be tremendously different in 10 years than it is now. And that may enrage some people, and other people may think it's wonderful. But the fact of the matter is, with the land costs being as high as they are in Rockridge, we're not going to see teardowns. We're not going to see big projects getting built in most of Rockridge. It just simply isn't economically feasible to do that. There are a few places in Rockridge that could be developed, and I'd like to see those get developed. There are a few places in Rockridge that could be redeveloped. It would be nice to see those redeveloped at perhaps a higher density and perhaps with including some affordable units in each of those projects. I'd like to see some minimum percentage of affordability, maybe not a large percentage, maybe a minimum of 10%, something like that. But I think it would be good to, because we've lost most of the affordability that we used to have. That's it.
Great. Thank you. Ronnie Spitzer. Kim Smith.
I want Broadway to be a complete street. I'm a resident on Broadway, so I would really like it to be more safe for pedestrians and cyclists and actually be a street that people can circulate across safely back and forth to connect the neighborhood. I want to see the large vacant lots have projects built on them or in planning or in construction, but I don't want to just see them still fenced off waiting for something to happen or being land banked. I want to see more ADUs built in the neighborhood and then actually rented out full time to tenants, not used as Airbnbs. I want College Avenue to continue to be active and vibrant as a commercial district and a desirable destination. I would like us to have built more affordable housing and provided more housing security in Oakland and within our neighborhood. And I really want to hear less stories about people moving away and not being able to afford living here, and success stories about them finding permanent housing and financial security. Yeah, and then I guess I can't talk about the Oakland Tech students I've been talking to, but I'd love for them to feel more included in our neighborhood and not just adjacent to it.
Excellent. Thank you. Kirk Peterson.
Yeah, well, change is going to happen. Who knows how much and at what rate, but I think that, change is good generally. I'd say what I'd like to see is an augmentation of what we already have. One, the great street, the walkability. I would say, as a housing person, I would really like to see affordable housing. Because it is too expensive here. The other thing, if I am elected or reelected, I would like to start a tree committee or a greenery committee. I talked too long before. I'd like to just have lots of trees planted. There's miles of public right of way along every street that belongs to us, the citizens. So I'm sure somebody else would be interested in joining me. Yeah, next 10 years are going to be really interesting. I just want to be involved. I'm very excited about the LUC in this visioning process.
All right.
That unfolds. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Advisor is still not here. Casey Farmer.
I would like to see a community vision plan that includes voices from all of our neighbors, residents, homeowners and renters, new residents and long-term residents. And I'd like to see that actualized. And I think a lot of great ideas have been shared this evening, such as activating the BART station for our open space. And that'll take some collaborative working together with them. But I think there's lots of opportunity for activating that space for people to use for recreation and convening. I would like to see many more neighbors, and I would like to see that through housing, not holes in the ground, and a diverse array of units of all sizes for families, for low-income folks, for seniors. I'd like to also see the ADUs rented out to renters. I would like to see more people using RCPC's community grants program. We already have the resources for. Some great gardens are funded by that, and would like to see more folks engaging. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Casey. Mohammed Al-Madin.
I'm loving the responses from everyone so far. Yeah, immediately there's the new e-bikes from Bay Wheels are available in a lot of places in Oakland, but not on College Avenue yet. So that'd be my first part of my vision, is just these e-bikes to be a part of this neighborhood, bringing that here, and also just to work with Berkeley to make College Avenue more safe. My wife bikes there because she works at the university, and I kind of just fear for her safety every day, and I don't think that we should have that in 10 years. We need complete streets and Broadway as well. My vision for CCA is affordable and market rate housing, and also a park that's walking distance. College in Claremont needs housing and businesses as well. And that lot owner for that empty lot, he could build much more houses if we fill in that parking lot in the Safeway area. I also envision with these empty lots, at least like a large gym somewhere, like the gyms are not really affordable, or just another daycare in the area so more families could thrive here. The Rockridge parking lot, I see like late night food trucks or like a skate park for the kids, because I always see them skating there, just places for kids to have fun. Finally, just front gardens so you could share produce with neighbors. That's my vision.
Thanks so much. All right, Andy Charman.
Yeah, just to add to it, my dream is even more diversity, even more solar panels, even more bikes, even more trees on the streets. Even fewer cars per capita. Housing filled in at the opportunity sites like the Ridge, like the CCA site. Some more green space open to the public, especially accessible to people without cars, maybe at the BART station, maybe at the DMV or the DeVita lots if those ever get transferred. More ADUs. And with the loss of CCA, maybe more cultural institutions like the JCC that's moving in.
Great. Thank you. Jennifer McElrath.
As much as I like to visit distinguishable areas like downtown or Jack London Square, I prefer that Rockridge not emulate those places, but be its own place. In a play on Joni Mitchell's 1970 Big Yellow Taxi, I prefer that in our paradise, we keep more of our trees free for people to see on the CCA site and selectively put up super dense housing where we have mostly paved parking lots, the Ridge, the DeVita site, and the DMV site. Let's not be sorrowfully singing in 10 years. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone?
All right, thank you. Aneta, you're up next.
In 10 years, I would really like to see Lower Temescal Creek reopened and rewilded, restored to functionality through the Greenbelt. I'd love to see that connected to a project emulating San Francisco's, where there is a DMV, and that largest part of the parking lot is completely filled with workforce affordable housing, low mod. That's what we need. We have tons of people who have been forced out of the neighborhood by high rents, and it's really not possible for them to come back, but they have to live somewhere, and they cannot continue to be forced 40, 50 miles out of cities in the Bay Area in order to be able to work here too. So I'd really like to see that one develop the way San Francisco did, with genuinely 100% affordable units, because it's state-owned land and the land cost is already taken care of. We can partner with that. San Francisco did it. They're building 400 units, 400 affordable units.
Thank you so much. All right, Susie Wyshak.
My laundry list includes community-oriented spaces that teach trade skills and build community, especially for youth. When I heard about the Home Depot proposal, I imagined instead a community center there where kids who don't want to pursue college can learn right there near the high school. More public seating areas, something I imagine at the Triangle at College in Claremont. I would like to see all the water mains updated and really looking forward to a big one and having the infrastructure to weather that. Replacing parking meters with another revenue source to make shopping in the area more joyous, neighbors having a way to be really connected with each other, and a stoplight at the College Forest Lawton intersection.
All right, great. Kristen Belt.
Gosh, I mean, anything that I think is a bad idea. I think I would love to see more parklets on College, just like really double down. It's been such a great change, since COVID era. I'd love to see that just like amplify into something that could be a model for other neighborhoods and even other cities. And I think we have the resources to be able to provide support for making those things happen. I'd love to see more kids initiatives be really intentional and just really engage the kids in what College Avenue looks like, and feel really engaged and part of their community. I love the greening initiative ideas. And I'd love to see some kind of like open format for everybody in our neighborhood who's so eager to volunteer to support things like electrification, or solar, like all of the sustainability initiatives. We have so much talent in our neighborhood, so many people eager, and it doesn't have to be just the board.
Excellent, thank you. Eli Kaplan, do you want to bring us home? Or are you still otherwise engaged?
I'll do my best. I have a sleeping baby in my arms. I think he just woke up, but I'll be quick. Sorry everyone, this was very poor timing with my wife being gone. But anyway, in 10 years from now, I think people raised a lot of really good points if we think about ways that RCPC can really make an impact by lending our voice and support for these key housing opportunity sites. The DMV, as mentioned, is an excellent site for truly deeply affordable housing on some of our other sites that are privately owned. We can see dense development, probably largely market rate and maybe some affordable, but I would like to emphasize that market rate rental units still help open up our community. As someone who can afford a market rate rent but could never afford to own in this neighborhood, that still helps to bring more people here, and that can help support the economic vitality of our businesses. And that's something I really cherish too, the vibrant, walkable College Avenue. So I'd love to see that still thriving in 10 years with more neighbors to help support those businesses. Thanks, everyone.
That's great. Thank you. Well, that is it. Are you guys ready to hear from the next 14 candidates? Or, I think that's it. This actually, thank you all for being so succinct and coming up with such great ideas. And I hope whoever makes it onto the board will steal the best ideas from everybody else. And I think we're all interested in keeping Rockridge vibrant and great, and everyone is working towards the same thing. So thank you all. I'm going to do my best to, yes, Andy.
Oh, sorry, Zach, can we just also reiterate that for those of us who don't make it to the board, just want to remind people that the RCPC committees welcome non-board members to participate. So I would encourage, all of us who don't do it to join a committee.
Yeah, excellent. I am going to put this up, or I'm going to have somebody else put this up on YouTube and TikTok, and then we'll cut you into tiny dance videos, which will be fun. And I think that's it. Anyone else before I sign off? Any process questions?
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
I actually have a process question.
Okay.
I know there was a question about whether or not we were going to be available.
I don't think I caught that. Did anybody?
No.
You froze
Sorry.
Rose.
You froze up there. A question about
Sorry,
what?
can you hear me? Just whether or not we're accessible for future questions sideline. I don't know if it's appropriate to be sharing like emails if you're open to that, or what's your...
I think anyone who wants to put their email out there, I'm not going to volunteer people's emails, without asking. But so if you want to contact each other, I think we're all pretty findable. But I'm not going to put people's emails out there. Anything else? All right, I'm gonna hit that red button in the corner. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.